I thought we were from them, and I guess not. I don't know if it's one of those. No, I have no. Okay. For my teeth.
Oh, we're disconnected up here. We're like, oh, no.
Have them pause the music. You're right at the camera. Just have them pause the music.
Oh. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
First of all, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. I love everything. You know, it never ceases to amaze me when you do an adventure like this. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Is that the truth? You just have to laugh about it. What else can you do? I just want to, first of all, it's more important than anything else is that we understand why we're here. We're going to be doing some intentional filming today, so you guys will all be on camera. So look at your hair. I know some of us have less hair than others. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to talk about upskill, what upskill is. This is a division which we are trying to intentionally make a difference in our community. It's not about us, it's about our community, what we're doing in our community. We're going to be talking about those different things. This program we launched a couple years ago in concept, and then COVID hit. How many of you know that COVID has changed the way that we do business? So what we're going to do with this today is a small intentional group. The reason why we did that is because we really, really want to be able to film it so that we can take it out to business and industry and drop it right into their place of business. Because as you know, workers getting away from the office is really tough. And it used to be that people used to do conferences. Remember conferences? Yeah. Conferences are pretty much not there anymore. And the way that we used to do conferences are pretty much different. And so what we're trying to do is bring the college to the workplace. And whatever the need is, we want to make that need happen. And with doing work like that, you have to have partnerships. I just want to take a moment to recognize all the great people in this room and give yourself a big hand for coming today. Thank you very much. I want to kind of explain to you what upskill is. As the dean of this department, one of the things we will do for any industry people is we will provide a gap analysis. Now you may say, what is a gap analysis? A gap analysis is saying what your needs are, what don't you have and what you wish you had, and then how and what the outcome would be based on training or maybe services or college or non-college items, whatever that industry is needing, that's what a gap does. I'm doing this free at no charge at the college here. Usually you say, what, there's gotta be a catch. There is no catch. The catch is this, we wanna be your partner. It's all about community. When we can start putting our own egos aside and putting our own agendas aside and start working along each other and helping each other, that's where truly success comes. It's not about us, it's about the people that we serve. As you know, we're losing populations all over the place. People are moving to Arizona. I don't know why you want to be in Arizona 120 degrees. And by the way, that's my laugh, so I'm not having a heart attack. But another thing that I don't understand is, how can you help people if they don't know you exist? MJC celebrated their 100th year this year. That's huge, that's huge. And one of the things that I came on board 6 years now, 6 years ago, is I made it my mission to drive change. Change means that whenever you're not to just change your clothes, but change the way you think. It's really a mindset. It's about this up here to be able to really do the delivery of services. And with that being said, like I said before, we're going to be able to do that at this college. Without that being said, every time I introduce this person, I just say, I'm so blessed to have this person in my life, and I'm so glad to be working for him as one of his leaders. And I just appreciate our president so much. And with great pleasure, I'd like to have Dr. something, never say his last name, Dr. B, come on up.
Thank you, Vicky. Yeah, Bandhopadhyay. How hard is that? Yes, Bandhopadhyay. Bandhopadhyay. Let me break it down. If you cannot do that, just remember, born to party. Kind of sounds simple. Yeah, my name is Shantanu Bandhopadhyay. Thank you for the nice, kind words, Vicky. MJC has celebrated 101st birthday yesterday. September 19th, that was our birthday. So that's when we celebrated our centennial last year. And when I was thinking about that, last year, around this same time, Jen and I have been talking about how is the weather going to be? Is it going to be too hot? Would people come? And yesterday was kind of gloomy and all that stuff, but it was a good day. It was a good day to stand next to Petey the pilot, and Penelope, and take photograph with them, all good times. What Vicky talked about, upskilling, it's such an important part that, I'm sure all of you see wherever you go now, help wanted. You also know, inflation is up, people are hurting. So it seems kind of counterintuitive that there is lots of help wanted. There are lots of people who are seeking jobs. How does that happen? If employees on one hand, employees who are seeking jobs, employers who are seeking employees, why doesn't it match? And that match is precisely what Vicky is talking about, finding out the gaps. When there is a mismatch in the skills set that we need, what I'm offering is not really conducive to what's there in the marketplace. There's a gap. We need to bridge those gaps. And colleges have long enough been there by saying that I'm here. When you need me, you come to me, and we will figure it out from there onwards. I think education is changing. COVID had many, many negative effects, but one positive effect is COVID has decimated the idea of location or space to a very large degree. So college can go to a variety of areas. We can partner with the industries out here in our communities to identify what are the skills gap. And I really appreciate our faculty members here who have the real life experience to go there, identify the gap, and help them how they can bridge that gap together. One piece of statistic, if you look at Stanislaus County as such, in any county, in any workforce, there are 3 different skills people use to get jobs. One of the most basic skills, that is your physical power, physical ability. I can stand for 8 hours. I can lift this chair. I can lift 50 pounds. I can go and stand in the field for 8 hours. That's a physical ability oriented job. Lowest threshold. Anybody can replace you. If I'm more powerful than you, physically, I would replace you there. Second level that we have in this framework is skills. I can know how to do this electrical, HVAC, plumbing, all of those kind of skills. I have that, I can encash that opportunity and go ahead in the marketplace. Third level of skill that we call kind of a tertiary or upper level skills is knowledge. Knowledge is adapting to the circumstances and applying your knowledge so you become valued all along. In Stanislaus County, we have a large number of people who have been working on the agricultural fields, not surprising, and they have been using their physical abilities. Now that large-scale automation is coming in, many of the jobs are not paying that much. How do we upskill those workforce? And that's where our colleagues come in. They have some of those tools to give those, to empower this population. So Stanislaus County can get to that next level. It is not just about us. It's about the community development, economic development, workforce development, so we can all grow together. So I would look at each one of you to spread this word to see how we can bring this community together and really help us become the community's college. Thank you so much for being here today.
I can't wait till I grow up and be a president just like him. The next person I'd like to introduce at this time is our Vice President of Instruction. He is interim. I'm supposed to put that interim, but who cares? Anyway, and that's Dr. Brian Sanders.
It's always a challenge following Dr. B. He speaks well. I wanted to just give you a warm welcome. Thank you for coming to Modesto Junior College. Through COVID, through the pandemic, all of us got holed up into our own little universes. And it's really our commitment to the community, trying to build relationships, rebuild relationships that have just dwindled a little over time. This is part of us reaching back out to the community to say, we're here, we've been with you for 100 years, let's get back together, let's move forward on upskilling, move forward on training, move forward on making our community better together. So thank you, welcome to Modesto Junior College.
Thank you, Dr. Sanders. I don't want to forget, there's so many different people I'd like to thank. I thank each one of you guys for being here today. It really means a lot to me as a program director of this upskilling. But there's one person this would not even be possible unless he believed in my dream. You know, sometimes you have dreams, and sometimes dreams turn into nightmares. And this person has led a lot of initiatives here in the college, and he's an unsung hero to me, and that's Dr. Pedro Mendez. Oh, well, which is a doctor, Pedro Mendez in Jason. When I first did my first gap analysis, he taught me how to do it, so I give him all the credit. So if I make mistakes, it didn't on him. I'm sorry. At this time, what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to introduce the panel. We're going to ask each one of them to kind of talk about their programs, and then there will be time for questions and answers. Just know this is this is very informal, so that if you have something that comes up that you want to ask a question, don't hesitate to ask. At this time, I'd like to introduce a very special person. This person has come into my life this last year, and he is just, he's a ball buster. You know, have you ever met those people that just completely take things on their own? And he'll be talking about entrepreneurship. So let's go ahead and have him do that, Alex.
Hi, testing. Good afternoon, everyone. So, all me. So a question that I get asked all the time is, why entrepreneurship? Right? And when I often ask this to students, the response I usually get is, well, they can make a lot of money, right? And so at that point, I'm like, well, that's a good analysis. Yes, they can make a lot of money. But are you ready to do what needs to be done in order to reach that point in entrepreneurship? What many people don't realize is that 99.9% of all businesses are small businesses. However, when people look at entrepreneurs, what they like to look at is always the end result. They like to look at the big house or the fast cars. What they don't like to look at, or what they just don't see, is the struggle, is the heartache, is the 100-hour weeks, and sleepless nights, right? And so what they aren't prepared for, especially my generation and the new generation coming into the work world, is that mindset necessary? They aren't in the right mindset to be successful entrepreneurs, right? So I like to talk to people, not at people, right? So let's see a show of hands. Who here has ever had a fantastic business idea? Right? A lot of hands. Now raise your hand again if you turn that idea into a reality. Much fewer. Right? Why is that? Like you guys just told me you had fantastic ideas. What happened to them? Right? The hard work. Right? There might be a lot of different factors. Maybe it was a lack of knowledge of industry. Maybe you didn't know how to gain your starting capital. Or maybe it was something much simpler. Maybe it was fear. Right? Fear of what people might say, fear of failure. That's all in the mindset. You need to be in a proper mindset in order to make yourself a successful entrepreneur. And so that's the focus of our course on entrepreneurship, is starting at square one in the mindset. All right, so we'll be offering that in two different ways. The first is for those of us in the community looking to start a business. All right, so those looking to start their business, we will cover the areas aforementioned, as well as areas like solving a problem. Because every great business started just like that. Right? You can look at Amazon, you can look at Google, you can look at Apple. It started with the simplest of steps of find a problem and fix it. Right? And that problem could be in your own backyard. That could be a problem you experience, and well, other people must experience too. Right? And that can go all the way to changing the world, like the internet, like the personal computer, etc. The other way we're going to offer this program is for already existing companies within our community. As Dr. Trask mentioned, we're going to move into the community and we will come to you if you don't come to us. Right? We'll go out there and we'll find you. We'll come to your place of business and we will develop a custom program in order to bring your most powerful assets to work. And that is, hopefully as business owners, those of you out there, your most powerful asset is your employees. So we want to give them agency within your company. And to do that, we need to develop their mindset. They see your company on a whole different level than you do. They see your company on the front lines. Right? So we will work with them to work on a problem of practice. And that is find an issue within your company and fix it. At that point, we have a win-win situation. We have an employee who now has agency in the company and wants to better themselves and the company. And we have a problem fixed and development of your business, right? And we're serious, right? We're going to come out to your company, as odd as that may sound, right? Because here at the college, we are looking to put our community back in our community college, right? All right, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's what it's all about. And like I said before, we will come out and do that for any kind of company, small, large, mediums, and whatever the case may be. The only thing is we won't bring a van, we'll just bring our cars, right? Thank you, Alex, I really appreciate that. Our next person I'm going to introduce at this time, this lady is known throughout the state of California. She is an amazing woman, and she covers multiple subjects, but one of the areas that I've known her for is customer service. Now, I don't know about you, do we lack customer service in our community? I think that we got to get better at that. This one thing in all aspects, medical, dental, all those areas as the service industry, that from going to a hamburger stand to going wherever. And this person, Professor Akanona Shelley, I said your name right. She's going to be talking about customer service. Thank you, Shelley.
Well, hi everybody, Shelley Akiona. I've been part of the Modesto community for over 30 years now. I've been part of the MJC community for over 20 of those 30 years. And so I'm very, very invested, not just in this school, but in our city. And I just want to talk a little bit, the topic of this course is called customer service, but that really involves just one piece of a much broader scope of learning that we can offer to our current employees, our up and coming employees, our leaders, to get people on the same page in the workforce. So what we're offering as this startup is 4 areas, 4 sections, 4 short seminars, if you will, just kind of like a teaser, like a good movie trailer, right? The trailer is going to be better than the actual I mean, the movie's getting better than the trailer. Don't you hate it when like the trailer, all the good scenes are just in the trailer? That's not what our trainings are like. Okay, so you're not getting the best of the best right now. You're just getting a snippet. Okay, so these four short seminars that we're doing are communication in the workplace, time management, customer service, and stress management. So when we talk about training and development in the workplace, let's back up a little bit on like what is the value of training and development. When you, with the right motives as an employer or as a supervisor, as a manager, offer training and development to your teams, wow, you're like speaking their love language, okay? Because people want to be better, all right? I mean, I hope you are all hiring people that want to be better, right? We all want to be better. So when an employer says, hey, I'm bringing this for you, right? Not just for you to do your job better, but for you. That's a game changer right there in the workplace. And once you start seeding in that kind of investment into your people, you will see them see that kind of investment into their coworkers, into the people that they're serving, into whatever they're doing when they're answering the phone or meeting a need or answering an email. So I just want to kind of envelop your minds around that about like, do you remember when you were like the new employee and you were like, would somebody please just train me, right? Please send me to an Excel class, right? I mean, we all know what it was like when we really didn't know, right? And we still don't really know, right? And have you found the smarter you get, the less you know? It's the truth. The more you understand what you don't know. Now with communication in the workplace, we really want to just put something out to people to enhance some skills that they may think they already have. So first to evaluate their own skills. Are they being effective? Are they being efficient? Are they talking at a person or are they talking to a person? Those are two different lines of communication. Are they communicating in the way they want to deliver a message? Or are they communicating in a way where the other person is able to receive the message? So those are just some glimpses around communication. And then time management. Who here is just too busy, right? I personally am praying for the week to be 8 days instead of 7. Okay, that's like miracle zone, but I'm like, I need a whole extra day so I can take that one off, right? Okay, we are in a time and a season and a generation where everybody is just too busy. Yes? Too busy. So we want to give people tools and help them evaluate like, hey, where's your margin in your life? When are your peak times of performance where you can get a lot done? And when are the times that you're wasting? We say this to our students. Hey, if at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're staring at that assignment and you've been looking at it for now hour number 3, and you're still on page 1, you're probably not getting a return on your time investment. Right? And so really heightening people's awareness to their own productivity, okay? And how they manage their time, especially, you know, with families and spouses and extracurricular activities and your 40-hour-a-week job. How do we do all those things and do them well without burning out? You don't want to burn out your employees and send them home exhausted, right? Because then they're not happy spouses and happy parents. And that comes back to you in the workplace, right? So we want to talk about the well-being of the whole person as employers, okay? So then when we get down, we start drilling down into the actual nitty-gritty of customer service, we want to talk about why serve. What's the value of serving besides just growing the bottom line? All right, and this really comes from an attitude of the benefits that comes back to you with serving, right? Who's ever done a good thing for somebody else and it made you feel good, right? You know, do a good thing for somebody else and you come home like, oh wow, I feel so good that I went and I did that community service event, right? That I participated in Love Modesto or cleaning up the river or whatever it might be, right? There's this reciprocal happy that comes back through service. And so we want to encourage people and just awaken that part of their minds as to, you know, whatever industry you're in, you're definitely called to serve someone. But at the same time, someone is also called to serve you. If we work here at the college, we want to come out into the community. We want to do this. We want to come out and serve you because we're all about making people better. That's like That's what we do. We're the community college. Our job is to make people better. All right, so we want to just kind of help you infuse this attitude, this awareness of really what is the value of customer service in a workplace to people that you're providing service or skills to, or whether, and also how do you do it to each other? Like, how do you care for your person that you work alongside with every day? How's your customer service this way? You know, I'll tell you a little story. Alex and I, we work really closely together, okay? And we've had a lot of fun. Are you having fun working with me? You having a blast? So that's good, right? Because what else is he gonna say? I just put him on the spot. Okay, but see, we kind of have this unspoken understanding. If I'm in a bind and I call Alex and I say, hey, could you pick this up for me? Could you step in here? Could you fill that gap? He says yes, right? And he knows that I'm here for him. Like, hey, Alex, we have this opportunity to go do this great thing. And I know he's all about doing great things because he's an entrepreneurship guru. So yes, so we're constantly being each other's like yes. And we're getting better along the way. And in that, there's service in there. So it's not just customer service, but it's also, this is also my customer right here, right? Okay, because he's the future of MJC, right? So it's people like him that are gonna go out and do other great things. And then of course, stress management. Who does not want to take that course? You guys all got it down? You guys got your stress down? Who's got their stress completely under control? Nobody, right? I mean, come on. Everybody at least needs a refresher in stress management. You know, it's a real thing, COVID fatigue. Coming up out of COVID, it is a very, very real thing. And employers need to be aware of COVID fatigue and how do they help manage COVID fatigue alongside, not for, but alongside their teams, right? How do you manage that? How do you adapt to that? How do you recognize that? How do you not get taken advantage of as an employer because of that? So a lot of facets to it, but it's a real thing. So you all know, the reports all say anxiety is getting higher in this generation, and we need to get that back under control, right? So stress management. These are the glimpses that you're gonna see in these 4 short sessions. Again, I'm really excited. Vicky's been working on this for a long time to get this out into the community. So I am so excited about being able to help her launch it and come out, meet your people, get them all like excited to manage their stress and their time and to serve others well, okay?
All these programs can be done custom to the organization. So for example, Tom, if I went to Salvation Army and let's say, for example, you wanted to do a class of customer service, how we service in the non-public sector, we would customize that to that organization. And so that's something that's really cool about the whole programs. It's pretty exciting. The next person I'm going to introduce here is a very special person. We came across each other over 16 years ago, and we've worked together on multiple projects. And I can call her my sister and my friend, and that's Dr. Nicole Cochran.
Thank you. I so badly want to get up and walk around. You know, I think it's in our DNA as instructors to sit on a panel. But what I want you to do is open up this and turn to the very last page. I just found out I was on the very last page, which honestly, it opened up right there to me. But I want you to take a look at what we're going to be talking about in the courses. And I think it's very important for people to understand why I do what I do. I came across unconscious bias reduction in 2016 when I was writing my dissertation, and the world was in turmoil about, it was police shootings of Black men, and I have 2 young men and my sons. One is 6'8", dark chocolate. Back then he weighed around 350 pounds because he also played, left tackle for UC Berkeley. And so, of course, as a mother, you have these fears. And I also had a colleague of mine whose husband was a police officer, and he worked in tactical. And so she put this comment up on Facebook that really drew me to why I do it. She said, I just want him to come home safe at night. And I realized that that was a common string between every person and who they love. And so it got me into this research and realizing after discovering, I want to tell you, like all the research and all the pages that I've done, which is ridiculous, the common thing is how we reduce bias is by having conversations and being open to getting to know other people. So I have done these trainings and I have created curriculum for equity and inclusion training through compassionate conversations. And that's where we really sit and get to know one another and to find out the why. So I'm gonna give you a little example of what does that look like when we talk about equity and inclusion. So here we have my colleagues. I'm gonna use Al. I'm gonna call him Al, even though his name's not Al. I'm gonna call her Shell. Hi, Shell. All right, so Al and Shell grew up in different communities in different ways. Like Shell, she came from a 2-parent home. They had 2.5 kids. That's usually the average. They had a dog and a cat, and they were pretty well off. Al, not so great. I mean, in the sense that he came from a nice family, but they were poor. They struggled. They made ends meet, but his family pushed education, gave him the value. But he had to work a little harder because their school system wasn't the same. So he had to take extra classes. When he got to college, maybe he had to do some remedial courses. Whereas Shell, she was off the gate. Hey, starting off, she knows what a duvet is. And now it's like, what's a duvet? Well, it wasn't in his textbook. So they're coming in on different levels, the same way you would in the school system, the same way you would in a job. And the goal is to get them to the same standard. That's what equity is. Meaning that it's gonna take him a little extra work to get that degree, or a little extra work and extra studying to get to the associate director of something of a position than it would for her, because she knows different people, she's in different networks, and she has a leg up. So our goal is we're not looking for equality, we're looking for equity, and that takes work. So one of my sayings is diversity is being invited to the meeting. Inclusion is having a seat at the table. Belonging is being heard, and equity is turning our diverse voices into policies, practices, procedures, and positions. And so it takes all of that. And so even though it takes work, so understanding what equity really looks like is very important so we can be inclusive. Have you ever heard that saying, don't make a decision about me without me? Well, with inclusion, we're having it in jobs, in education. We're not having a connection where we're including people in these conversations about them because we don't know their stories. So they could, for all we know, they could be brother and sister, but they might have had, I know in my household, if you ask my sister how our household was, and you ask me, apparently mine was candy and gumdrops, and hers was like, I don't know, World War II. Totally different atmosphere, totally different personalities, and we're only a year apart. But we have different stories, and our stories of origin may look similar in the sense that we had the same parents, but we come from different perspectives. So that's important for us to be able to share those stories. And so we're gonna have these kind of conversations, and they're based on research, where we sit down, we talk about equity and inclusion, but how it looks when having compassionate and at times difficult conversations. And then after that, the other one that I'm also working on is building an understanding by breaking down barriers and creating a culture of connection. And these are all in the same vein, but they're different approaches. And what I try to do is we make these fun, interactive, and I give you a space to tell your own story. So what we do is we start down by breaking down the barriers. I give you some information, I educate you on certain terms, on why the brain works like it works and why we make decisions. Most of us want to have value and feel like we belong wherever we're working, wherever we're going to school, in our community. We want to have that feeling, but we have to break those barriers down. And the only way we do that is to create those connections and understanding different cultures and different backgrounds. Because I could be sitting in a room with more people who look like me, but from very different backgrounds. But what happens is we have an automatic tendency to put people in groups. And so what I do is we sit there and get an opportunity to know your story of origin, know a little about you. And what it does is it slowly breaks down those barriers and it gives you a heart to know more about people, know more about our community. I'll give you an example. One of my interviews was, I interviewed police officers for my dissertation, but I was interviewing a sheriff. And I asked him, what do you have a bias for? Some people know some of their biases. I asked him, what do you have a bias about? He said, I have a bias with, he has an issue with domestic violence, going on domestic violence calls. Because he already said, my bias is I know she's gonna always take it back. And that's one of his issues. So we had to really own up to that, and we kind of unpacked it a bit. But he also said, I'm in a community where there's different cultures from other countries, and I think someone stole something. And in their culture, if you steal something, you cut off the hand. And they take care of it, not the police, they do. He said, but I was approaching other people from this community, but they had a leader. And he said, I wish I knew more about the culture prior to approaching that group of people, because it would have gave me better insight on how to communicate with them, how to respect what their culture was. And so those are the things that we look at, because it's so important for us to know the small things about people, because they give us better insight into who they are, and then we meet them where they are. And so the last workshop that I'm going to be doing is called Unconscious Bias Reduction Through Trauma-Informed Lens. And trauma-informed lens, I'm looking at my notes, so if y'all see me looking down, is taking into account about past traumas of people. And so an example of this is, there's a documentary out there, they made this in Walla Walla, Washington. This is one, I'm very forgetful, but I will never forget the name Walla Walla, Washington, because I think it's just so interesting. But they did school, they did an alternative school, they did documentary, and these kids are from troubled backgrounds, violence in the home and the streets. And the reason they call it paper tires is they wanted to do social emotional. And what happens is, one of the young ladies, the teacher asked her just a basic question, and she starts to get very angry and defensive and starts screaming, and she picks up a chair and tries to throw the chair at her. So whatever triggered her, that's what we call a paper tiger. And then what it means is, when you have trauma, it's somehow hard to distinguish what a real tiger is compared to a paper tiger. In your mind, that brain, because of the trauma, all of it's danger. And so when I say look at it from a trauma-informed lens, it's like, I want to think about COVID, for example. To me, I'm like, after COVID, everyone has been traumatized in some way, by social media, by deaths in families, by illnesses in some way. And so I want to approach you differently, because in my mind, I don't know that person's trauma. So I have to communicate with them in the sense that I'm open to if they get defensive, because I don't know why. And it goes back to customer service as well, because we approach things differently now. And so I'm going to tell you a story that you probably already know the answer to. So don't give it away. And I tell this story in most of my classes, which means I'm going to change it up after this, because I've been using it too long. I've done it when I teach in schools and when I've gone to organizations. I tell this little story. And so this is an example, and I want you to not holler out the answer, but if you do know the answer after I finish, please raise your hand. So father and son were involved in a car accident in which the father was killed and the son was seriously injured. The father was pronounced dead at the scene, and his body was taken to a local morgue. The son was taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital and was immediately wheeled into emergency operating room. A surgeon was called, and upon arrival and seeing the patient, the attending surgeon exclaimed, "Oh my God, it's my son." Who's the surgeon? Does anybody know the answer? Do you automatically now? Dr. Trask, I know you know the answer. Anyone want to take a guess at it? Someone says the mom wept. So the answer is the mom. And let me just say, 40% of people get this wrong. I literally did the same workshop with doctors and surgeons. I had women and men in the room, and not one person got it right. Most of the time, some of the students get it right. Some people will say, "Oh, it was a priest. Oh, it was a two-parent home. It was two fathers, a stepfather." But no one thinks our bias automatically has us think that it's either something other than a mother. And so what my job is to help you, come alongside you and help to reduce bias by us having these conversations and giving you the information based in research, and then us sharing these stories of origin and connecting to slowly reduce bias. So that is what I will be talking about and sharing with you. So please sign up for all of these courses, and I think you have a really good time enjoying, and also being able to take this information back to work and to your community.
Thank you, Dr. Buckley. Like I said before, I think that Professor Piccanini said it very nicely. The fact is, it can be done custom, or we can do these deliverables any which way your company and organization needs it. So for example, if you're in the industry of school or an institution and you need something in this area, all these people have done trainings in all different areas. We have over 3,000 classes, guys, that we offer in our program. I know, I'm out of the camera shot, I'm sorry. Okay, the next person I'm gonna introduce, is this good right here, Bianca? Okay, you know what, this filming stuff, guys, I would never make a movie star, even though I look it, I know. I'm gonna turn this next, cybersecurity. When I was looking at a lineup of what we wanna do, and we're gonna wrap it up with this last topic, is cybersecurity. As you know, in this industry, lately I've been watching these things on scammers. Oh my gosh, they do this romance scamming. They do all the scamming, and I'm sure in cyber they do a lot of that, right? And he's gonna be talking about what he does in the next couple minutes. Here you go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so I'm sort of the closer here out of the four of us, and I thought, since I'm not in the classroom this afternoon, I have to give a pop quiz. I'm sorry. I have to, it just wouldn't feel right. I didn't have that experience. So it's only going to be one question, okay? So if we could possibly advance the slide. Okay, one question. So this will be a good experience, all right? What does Disneyland have in common with the study of cybersecurity? That'll be my topic for the sessions I teach. What's the connection? What's the relationship? Any ideas? Okay.
Yeah, Disneyland's probably not the same place it was in the 1960s. So, based off of new trends, new things that get people excited, they remodel and build and keep transforming. And so from what I understand of cybersecurity, it's always got to keep up and keep transforming as well.
The evolution, the rapid pace, very good. That's a very good line of thought, and I agree with you. So what I can tell you is that a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2017, the Walt Disney Institute, which is a corporate training division of Disney, came to the college and provided a series of seminars to different employee groups. And one of the things that they told us, and it's just stayed with me all these years, is that when you work at Disney and you're primarily at the park, whether you are there for a summer internship and you're a college student, or if you are a member of the executive team and you're wearing a three-piece suit, everyone that works at Disney is responsible to make sure the park looks good, provides a good experience for the guest. And if you see trash or garbage or something out of place, you pick up the trash and you put it into a garbage can, right? You keep the park nice. Everybody has that responsibility. So the connection between cyber and Disney is that everyone at your organization, whether you're in IT or not, you need to have the awareness of the ideas that we talk about when we study cybersecurity. Okay, we call it kind of a global concern at every level, right? Sometimes we think, well, security is for IT staff, right? Yeah, they can be certainly a stakeholder, and they are, but everyone needs to have a foundational level of knowledge. And if you see something that doesn't quite seem right, or you observe maybe activities that don't look correct, right? Say something and become involved in that. And so our goal here at the college is to provide an upcoming cybersecurity program. And the long-term view is that we would have certificates that students could earn, kind of a terminal program that they could take a sequence of a few courses and have a certificate that would be recognized by the industry. And then also degrees, transferable, and then possibly a non-transfer, because we have a lot of students from different backgrounds, different goals. Right? We are the community's college, right? Alex made a great comment about putting the community back into the college. So to kind of kick off that idea, we're looking at providing 3 sessions. And any one of these 3 can be customized to your organization, right? So we want to, first of all, offer cybersecurity for business professionals. And again, with a community, holistic kind of a idea, you don't have to be IT staff, right? I would like to see, everybody participate. You can be from finance, you can be from operations, you can be from HR, any level, any sector, right? And we will talk about how do we safeguard ourselves from, all of the, Dr. Trask mentioned scams, right? That's one category, and it's huge, but there's a lot more, okay? So we'll kind of, we'll get rid of all those acronyms that scare sometimes people away, right? We'll kind of break down the language. The concepts of security are not terribly complex. It's the language that we use that becomes a barrier, right? So what I want to do is kind of bring that barrier down a bit, right? And just explain this is what we need to do to, be a little bit more safe and provide, some protection that we might not have otherwise. Okay, all right. We'll offer that session kind of at a general level, but certainly it can be customized for different sectors because the security challenges vary. You might be coming from healthcare, HIPAA compliance and things like that, finance, right? Public versus private. I come from a industry background before I came into the college here 10 years ago, and I'm familiar with the differences between publicly funded and the compliance that's mandated, right, versus a private organization might not have as many layers, but still it's important that you educate all of your employees, right? There should be training if you have staff meetings, if you have retreats. We can talk about how do you integrate some security themes into those events for all of your staff, okay? Now, coming back into the world after COVID, we also need to talk about working outside of the office. Okay, so a second session that we want to be able to provide is cybersecurity for remote workers, right? And if you have, one of these, magic devices, right? I don't want to say smart because after the last update, I'm not sure if it's as smart as it was, but they're magic, they allow us to stay connected, right? They allow me to, look at messages. They allow me to stay connected to our campus network. So the lines between in the company and outside the company, those are becoming, kind of blurry right now, right? One difference, though, is when you're away from the company, away from the organization, you might not have that immediate support, right? Your company might have, IT staff that is physically there, right? Maybe you have a contract with a company and they come in as needed, right? But at home, you don't have that. Right, at home, you're kind of, it's you and Google and the world around us, okay? So we can talk about some of the unique challenges. Maybe you're bringing a laptop from your office to your home. Maybe you're using a personal device, but that personal device is logging into a company asset. We'll talk about what we can do in any of those situations to, again, just provide more awareness about the risk and how to minimize the risk. Okay, and then third, and it kind of goes back to what Dr. Trask mentioned, the idea of scams and what we, kind of use, again, language sometimes is the barrier. We call that social engineering, right? But scam is really more accurate, okay? People are out there and they're trying to trick everybody, right? They're trying to find out our birth date. They're trying to find out where we went to school, right? When is our anniversary for some sort of a significant event in our life? And usually the reason for that is because, well, that could be a security question that you use to reset a password, right? If I know the year that you graduated from high school, within 2 or 3 guesses, I can probably figure out your age, right? Most people are 17, 18 years old. So, indirectly, the data that you kind of have out there in the world can be utilized in a way that could put you at risk, right? So it's important to have a seminar that just looks at, the idea of trying to minimize, again, the threats, okay? So I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to be able to connect with more of the community. The computer science department has had a good relationship. I was talking to Evelyn from San Jose County earlier today, and we've had a good track record of having new employees from the public sector come in and take our courses. We've been able to mentor at some of the local high schools. The pre-COVID Enoch's High School won a regional cybersecurity event down in Fresno, and it was kind of unheard of that a school from the area, from Modesto, competed at that level and did well. And so that's really encouraging. Pre-COVID, we offered 2 summer boot camps for high school students, and so we're really open to everyone has a place at the table, right? All ages, all interest levels, community members. So we look forward to your questions and seeing all of you coming back to the college and getting some training and sharing and learning from each other. Thank you.
I told you that I would get you guys out of here right on time. Now, timing is real important, and thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said before, there was a lot that we covered today. Anything that you wanted to have more information about, you're welcome to the panel. We'll stay up here if you want to ask questions. Otherwise, my phone number is in each of your folders. Please reach out to me. I'll come out and do a free gap analysis at no charge. I'm here for you. One of the things I learned a long time ago, to be great, you have to learn to make sure it's your agenda, not my agenda. It's really your agenda, what you need and what your needs are. I'm going to be able to do that. But I want to give one last recognition. There's a lady in this room that you guys have all got emails from. But behind that person, there's a couple other ladies I just want to recognize. Jeanette and Sherry, can you just take a stand? These people have worked and done amazing. They're the marketing crew of everything we do at the college. And this other person, she's the boots on the ground. I'll say, hey, I've got this idea, and she goes, okay, Dr. Trask, whatever you want to do. That's her exact words every time I say something. And I have to say, it's a great pleasure to introduce you to Bianca. And then the troops, the workforce, and CLL, can you guys just take a stand real quick? Because these guys, I could not do my job, so thank you to you. Take a sandwich on the road, and thank you for joining us today. If you want to stick around and ask questions, you're welcome to do that. We're going to play a video short clip. It just takes 30 seconds. It's on our webpage. We'll play that. If you need to leave, that's fine. If you want to ask questions, I'm going to be here as long as you need me. Thank you so much for coming today.